Hi guys, my name is Talisha Washington. I'm the Quality Management System Coordinator here. Today I'm going to talk briefly about IATF and Quality Management System requirements, as well as Sediment and what that means for this facility. So IATF, it stands for International Automotive Task Force. It is the quality management system requirements specific to the automotive industry that all Tier 1 suppliers are required to meet. What is the importance in obtaining our IATF certification? Well, besides the fact that it provides our customers with the confidence that we can produce quality products, without it, we will not be paid. Without it, we cannot ship, which means we cannot be paid. If we do ship, then the customer will not pay us for those transmissions that we have shipped to them. So it's free for them. So this facility is actually going for certification in May of next year. Now you may be asking, well, how in the world are we shipping and getting paid if we are not IATF certified? One of the guidelines, in order to obtain certification, you have to have 12 months worth of performance data. Since we are a newer facility, we do not have that yet, which gives us a grace period so we can still provide transmissions to our customer, business as usual. We'll still be paid for it and all of that good stuff. Now, what is a quality management system? Long story short, quality management system is what we do and how we do it. So it's our formal system of all of our documents, our procedures, forms, it's having that in one centralized location, quality policy, the different metrics that we measure every month, all of that together combined creates a quality management system. And everyone in this facility plays a role in establishing and maintaining an effective quality management system, whether it be documenting our processes, following the processes, using the current controlled documents. That's a big one, okay? All of that. So you'll know a document is controlled if in the middle of the form you see US-F, and then there'll be some other letters and numbers depending on the process it belongs to. If that information is not there, it is not a controlled document and we shouldn't be using it. If it says FM- and some other letters and numbers behind it, it's an old document and once again, should not be used. Here's the quality policy. This policy, it is required that all employees know it. All employees need to know it and be able to state it in their own words, which shows that you understand it. That is an IATF requirement. So within a couple weeks, you will receive a quality policy badge. It's literally the size of your ID badge and go on the same hook. Keep it on your person. Make sure that you are looking at it and understanding what it is. Once again, you don't have to know it word for word, but you need to be able to explain it in your own words versus just reading it off if an auditor asks you what it is. Here at Trimic, we do have a zero defect mentality. We don't want to accept defects from our suppliers. We don't want to make defects, and we definitely don't want to send them to our customers. So one of the measures that we have in place in order to help us with this are layered process audits. Layered process audits are essentially audits that are done by the office staff as well as supervisors, team leads, and quality technicians. It's an audit that is trying to make sure that the controls that we say we have in place are actually still in place and are effective. I tell people all the time, LPAs are not to get the operators or the material handlers or anybody in trouble. It is meant to make your life and your job easy and effective and efficient. So when you're being audited, don't be nervous. They're going to be asking you specific questions. Some of the questions might just be them trying to get a understanding for their own knowledge. Other questions are going to be directly from the checklist, which stems from, typical things that we're doing, making sure that we're doing our first offs and things like that. as also things that are specific to the control plan and the work instruction as well. So if they ask you a question and you're not doing it, don't feel, like you're going to get in trouble or anything like that. Just explain to them why you aren't doing it. It could be a training thing. It could be we need to update the documentation. It could be we just need to update the checklist. Either way it goes, we want to make sure that we get it addressed and we get it fixed. Now, cleanliness. This is the important part. So, by now, you should know that we are making the transmission for the Corvette. This is a vehicle that costs about $75,000. I also want you to keep in mind that every single 2020 Corvette is already sold. Even if we're still building that transmission today, it's already sold. Somebody already has it. So I say that to say, if you spend $75,000 on this vehicle that is in extremely high demand, you'll be very upset if you got a transmission that failed for whatever reason within like 8,000 miles. So we show you this picture to see the valve system, which we're going to get into right now. That valve system has small and tight tolerances. The valves control the shifting and the parking of the transmission, which is huge. Too much sediment in those valves will clog those valves. If we cannot flush those valves out, we have to completely replace it, which is $25,000 a piece. So that's very huge, and this is why we go through so many measures to completely eliminate debris. Not minimize, eliminate. So 40 micron, we're allowed 40 microns. These are some samples that we've taken from oil, from transmissions that were on site. Thankfully, they were not sold or they were not shipped yet. So you can see that the things that were found in the oil. So we had to, pull those transmissions and make sure we flushed them out and did what we had to do to get those particles out of the oil to ensure that we didn't have a failure in the transmission. Now, I know 40 microns, that is not something that, you talk about every day. What is a micron? How big is that? To put it in perspective, imagine taking a flower like a daisy or something that has a lot of pollen, and you shake it in the sunlight and you see those little, flurries flying off. So yeah, one pollen is about the size of 40 microns. Now, putting it in perspective, look at a piece of hair. The diameter in a piece of hair is almost twice the size of 40 microns. So that's telling you exactly how small it is and how sensitive this valve system is. Here's another way to put it in perspective. The holes on this mesh filter are 150 microns. Lincoln's eye right here is actually larger than 40 microns. So our allowable tolerance is smaller than Lincoln's eye. So that's, once again, just shows exactly how sensitive this transmission is and how important it is. So here's an example of a transmission that actually did fail. It failed 8,000 miles in. And once we, took it apart, did our analysis, these were the things found. It looks like it, it could be like something off of some clothes, some lint or something. I'm sorry, like a string or something from clothes. Don't really know what this is. It looks like it could possibly be a bug or something. Nobody really knows what it is. Either way it goes, transmission failed, cost us $25,000. Here's another one that failed 9,000 miles in. Once again, it looks like it's, different threads and things like that it could have been. Now, as we go on now, sometimes you realize exactly how much stuff just kind of falls off. Like how many times you just look down and there's a hair right there, or, threads from your clothes somehow just end up there. That's why we have all of these measures put in place to eliminate the debris that is falling off in the clean room. That's why we wear those lint-free lab coats to make sure that our clothes are covered and prevent anything from falling off and then going into a transmission. Our gloves, making sure that the safety shoes, required safety shoes, do not go outside. They do not leave Tremec. They don't go outside, period. They don't leave the building, I should say. And also the hair nets, the beard covers, all of that. And one thing that we're also working on is getting vacuums for the stations. We have a couple, but we want to get more so that they're easier access to make sure that people use them so that we can really, really, really get rid of any debris that may be sitting around. The air quality, it's great. It's actually great air quality in there. They turn over the air 4 times a day, so we're constantly getting fresh air. Just doing everything we can to make sure that we are eliminating debris from the clean room. One of the other things that you may see, the management team, they come around from time to time and they do sediment audits, specifically for sediments, where they're making sure there's any cardboard in the clean room, making sure that there aren't any brooms in the station area, because as you start to use brooms and they get old, they start to really collect all the dust and all that stuff. So just making sure that those aren't in there and aren't creating extra debris. One of the big things would be the returnable containers that your parts come in. Those are actually, they're cleaned out before they put parts in them, but we got to make sure that they remain clean and we didn't have any debris falling on them. Make sure that the conveyors are still clean, but both while it's in your station, but also, a little bit past your station and a little bit before your station. Make sure that we're covering all of that. The tools and the mallets, making sure that those are in good condition, making sure the gloves are in good condition. Sometimes some of the gloves, as they get old, they start to frail and some of the strings start to come out. We don't want that. So make sure that keeping your gloves in good condition. When you need to get new gloves, get new gloves. Also, making sure that we're not dropping any small components in the transmission, which has actually happened where they found tools and components built inside of transmission. Got to make sure that we're not doing that. If you drop something in there, make sure you say something so we can get it out and do what we have to do. Also making sure that the racks are clean and free of debris, because if the racks are dirty, eventually the parts will get dirty as well. And you will be asked if you've gone through the cleanliness training, and that would be this. So your answer should be yes. That's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much and welcome to Tremec.